I'm Stephen Cook, site manager of Uncle Tom's Cabin Historic Site in beautiful Dresden, Ontario, Canada. We welcome you to come and tour our facilities, including the Josiah Henson House. This is the last house that Reverend Josiah Henson lived in before he passed away in 1883. It's a two-story structure built in the 1850s, clapboard sided, with 2 bedrooms upstairs and 2 small rooms downstairs. Uncle Tom's Cabin was a fictitious book written in 1852 by Harriet Beecher Stowe. Mrs. Stowe was a preacher's wife who, when she went south with her father on her business trip to New Orleans, they went to the slave markets. And that was her first exposure to slavery and how blacks were being treated. So when the book came out in 1852, it was an amazing bestseller. It sold over 300,000 copies in the United States alone and over 1 million throughout Europe. And it really awakened the American conscience to how people were being treated in the South. It angered the people in the North who didn't see slave plantations and how families were being treated. And as President Lincoln said to Mrs. Stowe, "You're the little woman who started this great war," in reference to the Civil War. So Henson was a shrewd businessman. He knew that connection with the book would help in bringing funds to his settlement here in Dresden, the Dawn Settlement as it was called, and those funds were used to help build a school and different industries so that these black pioneers in Canada would be able to become self-sufficient and live out lives of freedom and prosperity here in a new country.
Traveling first class on the Via Rail is a perfect way to travel, especially from Chatwick to Toronto.
Welcome to the wonderful world of travel. I'm Jon Haggins, a GlobeTrotter. I'm here in Toronto, and Toronto is our friendly neighbor in the north. It's also a multicultural city, and we were here for the Caribana Celebration, which is just phenomenal. The people are friendly, the cuisine is extraordinary, and Toronto is a place that I think everyone should come to. So welcome to Toronto.
Did you know that St. Lawrence Hall was the hall of many debates? The 19th century garden is a beautiful garden. It's tranquil, and it's where you can hear the birds and the bees. The trolley cars have always fascinated me, and they're all over Toronto.
Toronto is a very happy town. We hear the bells of St. James Cathedral ringing in the background. The people are coming out. It's a celebration of life. Toronto is also a year-round destination because there's so many things to do between the markets and the beautiful parks. I'm sitting here in the sculpture garden, and there's so many creative things here in the city between the great food, the great people, and we were here, of course, for the Caribana Festival, but there's more than the Caribana Festival here. Toronto is a magical, multicultural destination that everyone should come and see. Michelle, I understand that 1.5 million people come up, and it's a celebration of life. And it's a very special thing. What I love are not only the costumes and the gaiety of the whole event, but people are so friendly. And everyone speaks to everybody. Yes. And it's really a gathering. It's a family affair, and it really is a family city.
You're absolutely right, John. Caribana for us is a celebration of life, but it's a celebration of the Caribbean culture. And in Toronto, we have a large Caribbean culture here, whether it's Jamaican, whether it's Trinidadian or Guyanese. But at Caribana, we all come together from the Caribbean and we jump up and wave, and we really have a great celebration of our heritage, being Canadian, and also welcoming people from various parts of the world to come and experience Caribana.
Well, I was so impressed with the costumes, and also I was so impressed with, for instance, the floats.
Yes.
And they're so amazing because they were just so voluminous, and they were magical, and they were ethereal. This is the first time I'm up here, but I can't wait to come back and to see what next year it's going to bring, because I'm sure each year it gets better and better and better, and more people are coming, and the hotels are fully booked. When we're staying here at the Westin
Harbor Castle. Yes.
The brewery is a very active and hip area of the city. It's where people come out and shop and dine and just enjoy one another.
It's the largest object on Toronto's lakeshore. It's the CN Tower of 1832. And that was here for about 5 years. The first 5 years that the mill was here, what they did is they just ground grain. They didn't distill any alcohol at all. But they had all these sacks of crushed grain that were lying around. Of course, they started to go off, they started to ferment, and they thought, hey, this is a good idea. We should make alcohol. Now it's known for a lot of art galleries, for shops, for restaurants. In the summer, they have a lot of festivals.
This exhibit comprised of African Canadian artists. I would say 90% of the artists are first generation, not even first, they're immigrants. So therefore what you're going to get here with an exhibit by African Canadian artists are, they hit their canvas differently. Mostly when viewing audience come in, they make a right turn. Therefore Izzy is always my leading artist. Izzy is, he's from Nigeria. And his colors, his use of colors is phenomenal.
This plaque talks about, again, Lucien Thornton Blackburn, who escaped in the Blackburn riots of 1833. And they had started out in Louisville, Kentucky, and came to Toronto. They were very, very prosperous when they arrived here. Thornton Blackburn started up the first taxi cab company in Ontario.
It's not only a cosmopolitan city where you can go to the museums and you can have fine dining, but you can also relax on the lake or the island across the way. It's a very unique city here in Canada.
The CN Tower is taller than the Empire State Building, and it has a 360 restaurant that offers international dishes and the best panoramic views of Toronto.
In 1914, on September 5th, a very important piece of baseball history took place out here. This was when the Providence Grays came up to play our Blue Jays of the time and brought with them a rookie, unknown pitcher named George Herman Ruth. Now, George stepped up to bat that day and actually hit his first ever recorded professional home run. Can anybody tell me who we know George as today?
Babe Ruth.
Babe Ruth, exactly. Probably one of the most famous baseball players of all time, especially for home runs. Clocked the baseball so hard that day it sailed out of the stadium, off the islands, and landed here in the waters of Blockhouse Bay. So we're possibly sailing over
Toronto Island is where everyone goes to relax, and the only way to get there is by ferry.
Tell me the origins of the Caribana in terms of how did it all begin back 43 years ago?
Yeah, well, Canada's a young country.
It certainly is.
And in 1967, there was a large group of a wave of immigration from the Caribbean. People from Trinidad, Grenada, St. Lucia, Jamaica, all settled in Canada, a lot here in Toronto.
Now, why did they come here? Why did they specifically in
They're
Toronto?
part of the British Commonwealth. There's always been a close tie between our country and those countries. And on our 100th birthday, the country, they decided to hold Caribana as a gift to say thank you. But this gift is also
For everybody.
Well, it's a recognition of the emancipation of slaves in the Caribbean.
Right.
This year we have a new dance, and it's called the Palance.
Can you do it for me?
We do 3 steps, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then the whole street will move 3 steps forward, 3 steps. You can hear it in the background. The whole city is doing that.
Caribana is a celebration of life. Everyone comes to celebrate the Caribbean emancipation. It's colorful, gay, and joyous. Well, I hope this was a very pleasurable experience here in Toronto. I certainly had a grand time. The Caribana Celebration, and also staying at the Western Castle Hotel, which has all the amenities that you can imagine. Until next week, I'm Jon Haggins, the GlobeTrotter. I hope to see you then. Remember, get up, get out, and travel!